All right, look at the difference. This is not zipping up, doing a rib slide, but you can see it working my abdominals for sure. You can see it working my obliques. You can also see that there's a bit of bulging, a little bit of downward pressure. I'm kind of squeezing the muscles up here, which could be squeezing downward on my pelvic organs. Okay, now let's engage the pelvic floor, just doing a little Kegel. Look at how the deep abdominals, the TA, the transversus abdominis, contracts just gently when I do the Kegel. Now I'm not contracting my bottom, my buns are still nice and loose, but the pelvic floor and the TA, the transversus abdominis, are actually very connected. I'm gonna release. Now I'm just gonna do the Kegel. That's just a Kegel, and you see that difference. Now my deep abs are connected. So now I'm gonna zip up a little more, gently draw the deep abs in just a little bit more, nice and zipped up. Now I'm gonna do the rib slides again. So here we go. And that looks a lot more supported. It looks a lot more lifted throughout the whole core. Let's add in the breathing. Now let's go back to not really worrying so much about engaging anything. Shake it all out. Everything's really relaxed. And we do our rib cage slides. I'm not breathing. I'm not really engaged. There is a contraction of these upper abdominal and oblique muscles happening. You can see a bit of downward pressure. I'm going to stop talking because that's an exhale when I talk, really. Okay, now let's engage. Pelvic floor lifts. Zipped up all the way. And now adding the exhale. One more time without it. And one more time with. Okay, now in that video you might wonder, oh my gosh, I think Bri has a big diastasis recti, a big split between the rectus abdominis muscles. Now I'm going to do a self-test right now so you can see that actually I think it was the shadows that made it look more intensive than it actually is. So let's go ahead and show you how to do this test. Anyway, I'm going to come through my side, and the first thing I want to do is have my hands, hopefully you can see, right here and here, right? Well below my belly button and to the sides. What I'm feeling for is the deep abs, the transversus abdominis, and what I want to do, because it's very closely connected with the pelvic floor, is I want to make sure that when I contract and relax my pelvic floor, I feel a concurrent contraction and relaxation, or at least a tensioning of these deep abs. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'm going to do a Kegel. Sorry, I had to take a deep breath there. Kegel. And when I do that, now I'm really isolating my pelvic floor, but I feel a definite tensioning of these deep ab muscles and connective tissues. That's a good thing. Now I'm going to relax, and I feel a release of my pelvic floor and a release of these tissues. So that's very good. That's step one. Now step two, we're going to go ahead and do the good old-fashioned diastasis recti self-test. So here I go. I'm just gently engaging, gently zipping up my core, nothing too intensive here. And I'm going to lift my head and shoulders off the floor. So head and shoulders are now lifted off the floor, And what I'm doing is I'm looking for a doming of the belly, which I don't see, or I'm looking for invagination, a gap or gully between my rectus abdominis muscles. I'm looking for them to pop up and there to be a big gap between. I don't really see that either. And then I'm also now going to feel the connective tissues starting at my breastbone, really all the way up here, sternum area, and the tip of my sternum, the xiphoid process, if you will. And I'm going to work my way down, and I'm going to feel the tension in the connective tissues. They feel nice and taut. Now below, this is my weak spot. I'm going to release my head. This is my weak spot. This tends to be my difficult area down below my belly button, but it still feels pretty firm when I'm doing that tensioning by lifting my head and shoulders off the floor. Let me try again. So zipped up gently, now lifting my head and shoulders off the floor, and it's still pretty firm. It's not sinking. My fingers aren't sinking down into the connective tissue. So that indicates that my tissues are strong and healthy. And even if I do have some split between the rectus abdominis muscles, which frankly, most women who've had babies are good. There's going to be some separation. I have had a baby. Granted, it was 10 years ago, but still, there is, separation, and it may not go back to completely perfection, but if the tissues underneath are strong, the linea alba and all the connective tissues that wrap around the other abdominal muscles and hook into the midline, if those tissues are strong, then you have a functional diastasis recti. That means that there could be a split, but you are supported. Your core is strong and stable. Your muscles and tissues are working to support you in the way that they should. So I feel good about my situation, and I think that any look of a split was probably more due to shadows than anything else. So I tried to make the lighting so that you could really see my muscles doing their job during that last little demonstration, and I just wanted to explain that I don't have a diastasis recti, at least not a significant one. And you can test yourself by, again, feeling your deep abs when you do a Kegel, contract and then release. Feel a gentle tensioning and then a relaxation of your TA, your transversus abdominis. And then you can do the good old-fashioned self-check, lifting your head and shoulders off the ground, watching for doming, watching for a gully, feeling that distance. And even if you feel a distance, even if you feel a gap, the most important part is actually how much tension you have in the connective tissues. You want it to be bouncy, like a trampoline. You don't want it to be squishy, like Pillsbury Doughboy. Okay, so I don't know if you can see me here. That's that. I hope that was a good demonstration about what happens when you zip up and why you really do want to zip up your core turn the muscles a little extra on during isolated core strengthening moves. It kind of gathers everything up. It prevents downward pressure. You also want to make sure you're breathing steadily. Never hold your breath. Exhale with exertion. It's all connected. That's it for now. Until next time, remember, eat clean, move every day, and you will shine brighter. Bye.